What's up? What's up? What's up? Why are you playing Final Fantasy XIV over World of Warcraft? Well, it's really quite simple, guys. Final Fantasy XIV has, this is the quest that never ends. It will go on and on, my friend. Some people started playing it not knowing what it was, and then they couldn't stop playing it just because this is the quest that never ends. It will go on and on, my friends. Please don't forget to drop a like on this video and remember to join me several times per week for more game-related content. I'd like to give a shout out to everyone helping support and grow this channel, either by subscribing for free or on Patreon for just $1.50 per month. Thank you so much. Look, this whole MMO fiasco between FF14 and World of Warcraft, it just gets me like somewhere inside, and it cracks me up to a level where I just have to talk about it. I've already made like at least one video on this. I might even make another one here in a couple weeks just because it's hilarious to me on so many levels. I even heard a rumor that Final Fantasy sold out of digital copies. Like I don't know if it's for real, and I don't care if it's for real. Like, this is how I feel about it. If it is a real thing, that's hilarious and awesome. And if it's not a real thing that they sold out, it's literally the best marketing I've heard of in years. Like, it's just amazing. I mean, people, when I talk to my friends, I talk to other people about Final Fantasy XIV on Discord and whatnot. We talk about things like how amazing the story is and how it just keeps going and keeps going like the Energizer Bunny. Like, the story just gets better and better. It starts off kind of slow, and it just takes you through this crazy roller coaster ride of traveling all over the world of Eorzea, and you meet all these crazy characters. There must be hundreds or thousands of them, and it starts doing that from the first hour that you log into the game. And what cracks me up is, like, if you compare that to World of Warcraft, like the first hour you log into the game, you literally skip 15 years of content. Oh my god, it just blows my mind to think about it. Another comparison that I want to make between the two games right now that just cracks me up is that, I've said this in previous videos as well, is that right now if you log into FF14, there's literally people standing in major cities wanting to invite you to their guild. They want to interact with all these new players. They want to get them on their team. They are willing and wanting to get you onto their Discord channels. They want to help you out. They want to help you quest. They want to help you do all this kinds of stuff. And if you log in to World of Warcraft, the game feels to me like it's so disconnected from the players and from having players interact with each other that it seems like nobody even bothers building guilds in World of Warcraft anymore. They don't bother recruiting. They don't stand in town. They don't type in chat, hey, my guild is recruiting. I mean, it's just so disconnected from having players want to get together and accomplish things together. I mean, let's be perfectly clear with each other. It's not rocket science that we're talking about here. Right now, Final Fantasy XIV rules and World of Warcraft drools. One of the most absolute hilarious things about this whole situation is that the first 30 or 40 levels in Final Fantasy XIV are by far the worst ones, the slowest part of the whole game. And yet, all of those 30 or 40 levels are all better than any of the current content in World of Warcraft retail. It's just like mind-boggling. But let's be fair, guys. Let's be completely fair here and take two new players. Now, this player plays World of Warcraft for the first time ever, and this player plays Final Fantasy for the first time ever. You know, if you're approaching both from the fact that both players are brand new to the game, which one do you think is going to be hold the player's interest more? Which one is it going to be? So let's just take a real quick look at this. So if you log into World of Warcraft today for the very first time, you're going to start a character. It's going to basically start off in Battle for Azeroth content, which it's not 100% terrible. It's not as bad as Shadowlands, okay? But you're not starting off in the human area or the dwarf area or the night elf area. You're not starting off in any of the areas that had the original lore that World of Warcraft started off with in Warcraft 3. You're not starting off with any of that content. All this stuff that made everyone really love World of Warcraft from the very beginning. New players now in 2021 are not starting off in that content. On the other hand, if you start off in Final Fantasy XIV today as a brand new player, you're starting off in a game that was start to finish made to hold one continuous storyline for every single player that's ever played Final Fantasy XIV, and it has not changed. They do not skip over all the content by playing right now, being a brand new player in 2021. And that is just the biggest, hugest difference between the two games. In my personal opinion, of course. I'm sure, you know, we could talk about this for hours and hours on end, and we're going to find lots of pros and cons about both games. But the fact of the matter is that if you have two brand new players, you have one player that's experiencing everything that every other Final Fantasy player has experienced. And if you have a brand new player in World of Warcraft, you have a brand new player that's skipping over 15 years of content that all of those players that have been there from the very beginning have experienced, and they won't experience that. So it's like a complete different, you could take both games and they both go off in a 90-degree angle in a different direction completely. Now, I've heard a lot of people recently in Discord and other things talking about how Final Fantasy is boring and the content is not difficult and all this stuff. Well, if you're saying that, it's because you haven't played it long enough. Once you get to the point where you're doing like some of the extreme difficulties for some of the boss fights like Ifrit and Shiva and some of the other ones, the extreme difficulties are exactly that. They're extreme. If you try to pug one of these groups, it's more than likely that you're going to have to do it about 50 times before you actually succeed, because it's going to take people that long to actually learn the fight and to stay alive long enough to stand in the right spots. For instance, I went into Extreme Shiva today on my healer, a white mage. She's pretty well geared, honestly, compared to a lot of the other healers I've seen. And it took me about at least 5 tries before I learned the mechanics, and I was pretty satisfied with where I was with the mechanics. But there was just a multitude of people who just basically refused to stand in the right spots and would get constantly one shot by the boss. I mean, just standing in the wrong spot one time gets you one shot on extreme difficulty. So please believe me when I tell you that the difficulty of the game does get much harder as time progresses. Now, if you look at World of Warcraft on the other hand, and you want to do something like the extreme difficulty, like the hardest difficulty stuff in the game, not only are you going to need to try to find like an active group of people, you're not going to be able to queue for the hardest content in World of Warcraft on the group finder. You're going to have to find a guild or a dedicated set of real life friends or something like that that actually play the game and want to progress to the end game enough to the point where you can actually have a group that learns these fights together. Whereas in Final Fantasy XIV right now, I don't know if it's going to stay this way, and I don't know if it was like this 2 years ago, but you literally queue for this content, and within 30 seconds, right now anyways, within 30 seconds you have a group for extreme difficulty or whatever you want, whatever it is you want a group for, you're going to be able to find a group for it within a limited amount of time. So again, right there, you have one game where people are more than willing to want to get together and do these things, and a 90-degree angle direction the other direction in WoW, where you have a very small limited amount of people that want to do this stuff with other people, and then they don't want to get locked out of doing it because, you know, they might kill one boss but not get to kill the last boss, and then they want to make sure that they have like the best group of people to do it, you know what I'm saying? So it just seems like Blizzard and WoW is making everything so much more difficult than it needs to be on the players. And it's becoming more than evident that people are getting really sick of it. All right, that's going to do it for this video, guys. You guys are going to have to let me know in the comments. I'm really curious to know, you know, where you guys stand on this. Are you leaning towards FF14? Are you leaning towards WoW? Is that your bread and butter? What are some of the things that you like, the differences between the two games? This to me is just a really cool subject, because never before in the 20 plus years of me playing MMORPGs have I found two MMOs that have been like jabbing back and forth at each other so much and having such a gigantic, huge swing of players towards one, and having such a controversy, so to speak. I know it's not like a major, like people are coming to blows or whatever, but it is a very different scenario that we have here between these two games. Anyways, let me know in the comments, guys. Really appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Roger, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Take care of yourself, everybody.